There are a lot of superhero characters that exist, but the most recognizable has to be Superman. Superman is one of the oldest heroes, appearing in over 18,000 issues across multiple titles, as well as several movies and TV shows. So it is no wonder he is so recognizable. Superman is a part of our culture and has been ever since his creation, standing for truth, justice, and the American way. Until they change that last part to a better tomorrow, but that isn't important right now. Superman is a symbol of ideals, a shining example of America's core values working at their best. But in recent years, Superman has been victim to deconstruction, with characters like Homelander and Omni-Man showing a harsher and more critical version of the character. But these are American takes on the character, and Superman is known all over the world. There is a Chinese Superman after all. So it is no surprise that there is a Japanese take on deconstructing Superman in the form of All Might from My Hero Academia. So since this is an anime channel and I love comic books, let's explore how All Might breaks down the core themes of Superman and turns them into something new. Let's start with answering the question of what is deconstructing? Deconstructing is analyzing a concept in order to expose hidden internal assumptions and contradictions and to subvert its apparent significance or unity. In the case of Superman, popular media tends to strip away how perfect he is and make him hyper aggressive. This is a criticism on Superman standing for the American way. In the 1930s, the decade that Superman was invented, the American way was a nationalist idea that spread the sentiment that America was the best because of its freedoms. But in recent years, these ideas aren't as commonly shared, and after years of criticism being thrown at the US government, some have realized just how power hungry the country is. This is reflected in the characters I brought up before. Homelander is covered in American iconography, but doesn't sensationalize America at all. Instead, he is a criticism of it, which plays off of how Superman has always been strongly tied with the America good sentiment, appearing on war bonds and also being heavily dripped in American imagery. You could see Superman as a symbol of American society, or at least the perfect American society that is promised to us. Superman representing society is important to our topic today because this is the aspect that Kohei Horikoshi, the author of My Hero Academia, deconstructs when creating All Might. Let's look at All Might, shall we? All Might is the symbol of peace in the My Hero Academia world. All Might being around means that you are safe, which is fitting for the My Hero world because they live in a society where 80% of the population has powers. There is bound to be danger at every corner, so it is great to know that there will always be someone to protect you. But as we see later in the story, society isn't as safe as it appears. This is illustrated by Stain, the hero killer, going on a rampage and exposing how bad most of the other heroes are. This is reflected in All Might. All Might in public is strong and perfect, but in secret he is broken and practically on the verge of death. The safety of this society is hanging on by a thread. This is also a deconstruction of Superman, where Superman has the mild mannered alter ego of Clark Kent. But unlike Clark, All Might doesn't have any powers when he isn't using one for all. He is weak behind the scenes, just like the society in the My Hero world. And we see this fully realized after the fight with All for One halfway through the series. All Might is defeated and can no longer continue being the symbol of peace. Everyone is frightened, and UA even decides to keep their students in dorms to keep them safe. This shows how important All Might was to this society. Without him, it almost completely falls apart. I wonder what would happen to our society if Superman were to die. The death of Superman was written from 1992 to 1993. It was a reaction to Superman's sales declining because of the rising popularity of more violent characters like Punisher and Wolverine, who fit the attitude of the 90s. When Superman died, not only did it make headlines in the page of the comic, but it also made real world news. This was a representation of a changing of the times. Society had changed, and people took notice of it when Superman died. Was it a cash grab? Yes. But it showed that the ideals and values that Superman represented didn't resonate with people anymore. So he was killed as a way to wake everyone up to how much society had changed. This is a little different to All Might, where his defeat led to a societal change while Superman's death was caused by one, but they still use the same idea to get the point across. These two characters represent the world that they are in, both promising and promoting what makes them great. but once pushed to their limits, it crumbles, leading to a new, darker, and scarier reality. I'm sure there are more examples on how All Might is a deconstruction of Superman, but I personally am not caught up with my hero, so this is all I am privy to. But I thought this was an interesting enough of a topic to make a video on anyway, and maybe once the series is over and I'm caught up, I can make a follow up video. Make sure to let me know in the comments, like, subscribe, and with that, sayonara.